Hi,
Hello,
Bradley.
Jane.
Hi, what a wonderful start to the evening. Amazing. Such a good video.
Music was pumping, wasn't it, Jane?
I'm dancing in my chair. Yeah,
Yeah, both of us backstage dancing away there.
yeah, really exciting start to the evening. We've got lots of viewers already clicking in and tuning in that I can actually see. So that's absolutely fantastic. We've got a fabulous evening ahead of us, haven't we?
We have. I'm very excited about this one. Not that
Yeah,
I'm not usually, but this is quite a big one for us.
it is quite a big one for us. It's meant quite a lot to actually get somebody of Trevor's caliber on with us, really.
Absolutely.
I've known Trevor for a number of years now, professionally and personally as well. But to actually get him to give up his free time to actually come and have a chat with us this evening is just really, really exciting. Bradley's done heaps of work behind the scenes for this to make sure it all runs smoothly on every channel, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So you'll be able to watch us on all of those. As always, pop your questions through to us in your comments, and we'll look at those. We'll pass them on to Trevor as well, and just keep trying to reply to them as we go through the actual evening. We'll take a lot of questions at the end of the evening and talk to you as well then, because we really want to make as much as our time we've actually got for Trevor, really. Um, so I think, shall I start to introduce the evening, Bradley?
I think we're almost there, Jane. I just wanted to say quickly that for anybody this evening that has got questions, as Jane said, we will pass as many of those on and get as many of those answered during tonight's interview. But we were expecting to have a huge influx through, so we have got some lined up already. Those that don't get answered live tonight, do not worry. We will pass those on to Trevor. If you would like to make contact, obviously, with anything that we can help you with, as always, drop us an email with the address that is down here. I've got it right this time. It's very hard because you're kind of opposites on the screen as to where your fingers go, but you just let us know if there's anything you would like to pass on. Equally, if it's just a nice comment or a message, we're more than happy to do that on your behalf.
Thank you. So, everybody, thank you for joining us at Aderans UK Live. Tonight we've got Trevor Sorbie with us as our guest this evening, which I'm really very excited about. I kind of grew up in the age of Trevor Sorbie when he was actually releasing all his haircuts, such as the Ret, the Wedge, the Scrunch, the Wolfman, all back in the 70s. So for me, it was really exciting to be able to get Trevor here with us this evening. Trevor's now had 57 years in hairdressing, believe it or not. So he's had a big career in hairdressing. He's got 6 UK salons. He's got 4 salons overseas, one in Dubai, 3 in China. And he's actually won the coveted award for Hairdresser of the Year 4 times, which is more than any other hairdresser has. And that in itself is such an achievement. In 2020, he was voted International Hair Legend as well, which he is such a legend to all of us. In 2004, which is probably one of Trevor's awards that he treasures all of them, but this one was really kind of special to him. He actually was awarded the MBE by the Queen for all his achievements and services in hairdressing. And he was the first hairdresser to actually win that award as well. So he leads everything all the time with winning these awards. Trevor really is that household name. Everybody knows him. We've seen him on TV shows, either as a guest or he's a stylist on the shows. Numerous magazines that you would have actually seen him in. Interviews on the radio, Desert Island Discs. He was on that, which was absolutely an amazing interview he done. He's really put British hairdressing on the global map. And that's not just the UK, that is the worldwide global map that he's put the hairdressing name out there for British hairdressing. And he's an inspiration to thousands of hairdressers Then and even now, he's still that inspiration that people want to aspire to. He's established groundbreaking styles and different techniques, which we all try to copy and emulate as well. And he's mentored some of the most inspiring art directors, such as Antoinette Benders and Angelo Seminara, and they are just amazing in their line of work. And it was Trevor who kind of taught them and actually nurtured them all the way through. And then 15 years ago, to add even more into his actual career of what he's done with his hairdressing, he got to a stage where he wanted to really give something back. And in 2006, Trevor actually founded the charity My New Hair. So this evening, I want to actually talk with Trevor about his early career, how he started, where he come from, find out all about his roots, and then take you through his journey up to present day and My New Hair and the charity, which is really close to his heart and also to ours at Aderans as well. We support Trevor in My New Hair through all of his charity work, and it's amazing. And I know a lot of you listening to us tonight would have actually known about the charity. Either you've trained as a hairdresser through My New Hair to actually style and personalise wigs, or it could be quite possibly you're a client out there, you're somebody who's an end user who uses wigs, and you've had Trevor style your wig for you. So I think we're almost ready. I'm going to go back to Bradley to see how close we are to going live.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, we're live right now, Jane, but we, so, yeah, just to let you know. So, what we're going to do actually today is we're just going to send Jane off to dial Trevor in. And in the meantime, we've got a great clip that actually was shot in our Trenco salon in London when Trevor actually paid it a visit. And it was broadcast out on Lorraine maybe 2 years ago now. So a lot of you will probably recognize it. So what I'm going to do, James, I'm going to say goodbye to you and let you scurry off and sort out the dialing. And then we will put this video on and then come back and join the pair of you on your interview in a second. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Hi, Nicola.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Angie.
As you can see, there's a whole range of different wigs, colours and styles. You'll know when it's the right wig because it will look like you have always looked.
Ooh, exciting. Oh, very sort of... Yeah, I like the fringe.
Yeah, what about the length though? You're going to go same colour or you're going to go blonde?
No, I'm going to go, no, not blonde. Although Tom would like me to go blonde. But...
Right, Nicola, you've had a look outside at the wigs.
Yeah.
Let's have a bit of fun at this point, okay?
No fringe. Not for me. Too dark. No, too short. Thank you, I love it so much.
Feel comfortable?
It's really comfortable. I love it. Thank you.
Here she is. Oh, wow. Wow, wow, wow. It's lovely. Come and sit down. You look amazing. Let me see. Oh, wow, that is so good.
I know.
Have a wee seat.
I love it.
What do you think?
Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah?
Yes, I'm so happy with it.
Do you feel like you?
Yes. I've got hair.
Welcome, Trevor. Thank you so much for giving your time to us to actually sit and have a chat. It's lovely to see you. Not seeing you well now for lockdown, but you're looking really well, which is great to actually see.
Thank you.
We just want to have a little talk to you today, just to talk about your early career, how it actually started, and taking you right back to the beginning, really, from where you actually grew up. I know you actually grew up and come from Paisley, and one of our viewers is that sent in a question to say, is it true that you came from Paisley? Yes, Trevor can tell you it is true. That is where he actually came from. And this lady, Elaine, she actually has a hair studio in Paisley now as well, a wig studio selling wigs. So I'm sure she's probably going to pop up on My New Hair one of these days to actually come and learn some of your skills. So coming from Paisley, you've lost your Scottish accent. It's not very cool anymore.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're young and you have a different accent, I got bullied at school because of the accent, and I basically tried to change it, as simple as that, to be one of the gang, if you like, and that's basically why I love the accent.
Yeah, I think that's so sad, though, isn't it? Really, because people do get bullied and picked on because they do sound a little bit different to somebody else. And there's so many regional accents throughout the UK. I think it's quite a shame that people do lose them for that actual reason. And it does happen, doesn't it?
Yeah, but having said that, my brother's still broad Scot, because he wouldn't stand any nonsense. If somebody bullied him, he'd belt them in the face. I mean, I wasn't as brave as he was, so he still stayed true to his origin.
Which is good. Did you have a good childhood growing up in Paisley? Was it one of those happy childhoods with lots of fond memories for you?
Yeah, I mean, we were really quite poor. We lived in a tenement building, which is basically a block of flats, and we used to share an outside toilet with the people upstairs. Christmas dinner was mince and potatoes. I remember there was one toy that was given to us. I got the toy, my brother got the box that the toy came in. It was very, very modest. But you know what? I was happy. Obviously, I didn't know anything else, but I look back at my childhood and think that's partly what helped make me, to be honest. I feel I've never lost sight of that upbringing.
And I think that's quite important, isn't it, to remember your roots, where you've actually come from, because that is something that's made you to what you actually are today, isn't it? Because you were quite young still when you left Paisley to move to London, which is quite good at that age.
I was 11 when my parents moved to England. As a matter of fact, they told me that I was going on a 2-week holiday to see my uncle and auntie. And it's funny, at the time, I had a little girlfriend at the tender age of 11. I started quite young on that level. And I said, look, and her name was Elaine, funny enough. And there's a funny story attached to that. But I said, look, I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll see you then. Well, I never went back. And as far as I know, she still went at the bus stop.
Oh, she's still waiting for you.
No, but Jane, this is funny. This is true, this story. A Sunday newspaper got wind of the fact that I'd had a little girlfriend at 11, and they hunted her down. They found this little girl, and they said, look, Mr. Sorbie, we'd like to run an article. If we fly her down to London, would you do her hair for her? And I said, yeah, no problem. I'd love to see her again. Anyway, they did. They flew her down. Anyway, she walked in and it wasn't the person I thought. I mean, it was the same person, but she had slightly changed because she was in her 50s as I was at that time. And I hate to say it, but I'm quite glad my mum and dad moved permanently down to London. Anyway, she's very happily married, and
it's a lovely story, though, isn't it, that they actually find her?
Yeah.
Incredible, because I know, a lot of us do school reunions and different things, isn't it? And you're always trying to track down that school friend. But for somebody to find your first girlfriend, I think it's quite cute.
Yeah, I've got this little black and white photograph of me and her on the beach. We went on holiday once with both our parents, and I still look at that, not often, but now and again.
Yeah, no, it's just nice to have those memories, isn't it? I love that. Somebody tracked her down for you as well, and she flew down to get her hair done. So it's such a nice little story that she had a fabulous day, just kind of catching up on all times, isn't it? But as you said, you had a lucky escape as well.
Yeah.
So you moved down to London when you were 11, and then how did you start your hairdressing career? What made you want to actually become a hairdresser?
Well, firstly, I didn't even think of being a hairdresser, but it was in the family. My grandfather was a professor of hair in Glasgow, and my dad became a barber, and he had a little barber shop, 2 chairs in a little shop in Ilford in Essex, and as I said, I was getting bullied at school, and I just wanted out. I didn't want to stay and take exams in art. That was my first love. And my dad said, well, look, what do you want to do? I said, well, I just want out of school. I'll get a job in a factory like my mates. And he said, well, look, Trev, come in the barber shop and see how you get on. You know, do shampoos and sweep the floor, and see if you like it. Maybe it will grow on you. So I did at 14. I used to go in on a Saturday and help Dad out. And at 15, I left the actual school. And to be honest, I really enjoyed it. And within 3 months, I was cutting. I actually found hairdressing quite easy. I could watch my dad, and after a period of time, because I think you can learn as much by watching as much as being taught. As to me, it's all about observation. And I found hairdressing quite easy. I was with my dad 5 years, and to be perfectly honest, I got really bored with hairdressing, and I quit. I stopped altogether, and I went for a job. It was in the Hairdresser's Journal, and it was to be a rep for Gillette razor blades.
Okay.
And I went along to a London hotel for an interview, and I was totally intimidated sitting in the waiting room because there was all these really smart guys in suits and everything, short haircuts, and I thought, oh, probably haven't got any chance here. So anyway, I had the interview, and I told the guy that was interviewing me a load of lies, because he said, what's your qualifications? I said, well, I got an A in maths, a B in geography, a C in English, and I had none of those. And he obviously saw right through that.
Yeah.
And needless to say, I didn't get a job. Actually, I didn't really want the job. I wanted the car that came with the job. So not getting the job, I didn't get the car. So that was it. That was the end of it. So I said to my mum and dad, look, I said, I'll go back into hairdressing, but men's hair is boring me. It's the same short back and sides. I said, if I could learn ladies hairdressing, I'd prefer to do that. So they sent me to a college in London called the Richard Henry School of Hairdressing in Baker Street. And I did a 6-month course, which cost my parents £100, which in those days was a lot of money, and they couldn't really afford it. But, they were very generous to me in that respect. And on the last day of the college, the principal of the college, Martin Gottlieb, said to me, Trevor, he said, I see something special in you. I said, oh, really? I mean, the thing is, you don't see yourself as special, but other people can see things in you that you don't see yourself. And he recommended that I go to Vidal Sassoon, which I did.
Then that was the start of it then, wasn't it, really? Going to Vidal Sassoon, because soon you were made the art director there as well, in very few months of working it.
Yeah, within 18 months, they made me an artistic director in their Grosvenor House salon. And in the end, I was art director for the Grosvenor House, the South Moulton Street salon, the Manchester salon, and the Leeds salon, and then the Milan salon. My job was to maintain the disciplines and the quality of the work in all of those salons. So I rose quite quickly, in promotion, which was great. I loved it.
Brilliant. And it was then back in the 70s when you were at Sassoon's that you created one of your iconic styles, the wedge, 1974.
Yeah, that's right. Being on the artistic team, Vidal was still in the company in those days, and it was his first opportunity to do a show in Paris. And he says, right, boys, we have to invent some new haircuts to take to Paris. So we all went away, thinking hard about what we could do. And this one day, I had this young model, Mary, who was a house model, which is someone that you practice on, and she'll let you do anything you want, kind of thing. And I said, look, I've got an idea for a haircut. Would you allow it? I said, it's going to be short. I said, but it'll look good. Yeah, all right, Trevor, I trust you. So anyway, I did this haircut, which was really short around the hairline and down the back into the nape of the neck. And it was like one length on the top. And I looked at it and I thought, I said, I like it. But I said, I think the French will hate it because it doesn't look very womanly. So I thought, I'm going to try and salvage it. So I just brushed it back on both sides. And out came the shape, like a V shape. And it was called the wedge. And when she went on stage in Paris, the audience pulled her off the stage, the hairdressers, to look at this haircut up close. And that was, it was the first haircut that ever got a double page in English Vogue. And it was a mistake, really, but you know what? I take full credit for it.
Yeah, I mean, the feeling at the time must have been extraordinary for you, how you actually felt to create that style, 2 pages in Vogue. It's a style that people have been copying and trying to copy ever since, isn't it, really?
I'm sorry, can you say that again, Jane? I didn't catch that.
Style that people have been copying ever since as well, isn't it? Adapting that style in hairdressers when you're training. I remember when I done my training as a hairdresser around about 74 and it came out. And that was one of the haircuts we were given to actually pass one section of our training. So everybody was trying to copy the work you were doing at that time.
Well, yeah, it became the clubber's haircut. And the thing that made it even more popular was men and women could wear it. It was kind of a unisex haircut. So it was right at the time, a lot of this is all about timing. And I just happened to hit a haircut at the right time.
Which is absolutely amazing. So you worked for Sassoons and then you went on to work with John Frieda as well?
Well, before that, I went to Mexico to work for a while. I wanted to spread my wings and see the world. And after 6 months, I came back to England and I worked for Tony and Guy. I got a job there. And Anthony Mascolo, who is their creative director and a brilliant hairdresser, he was my assistant in those days. And I stayed at Tony and Guy's for 6 months. And then I went on to work for John Frieda, who was a big name in those days, huge name, working for Leonard. And after 6 months of working with John, which I enjoyed, by the way, but an opportunity came my way. A guy called Grant Peat had a chain of salons outside of London, and he wanted to expand into London. So he bought a shop in Covent Garden, and it wasn't doing very well at all. In fact, he was going to close it. And one day he phoned me up and they said, Trevor, how would you like your own shop? And I said, 50% my name above the door. He said, you got a deal. So I got my first shop and didn't cost me a penny.
Fantastic. And that was back in, what was that, 79 Covent Garden, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And now you've got 6 salons in the UK and you've got 2 overseas as well, Dubai in China.
Yeah, that's right. I got 3 in China, 1 in Dubai. Yeah.
Wow. So numerous staff as well, 70 plus staff that you actually are involved in. Are you still quite heavily involved in the training of all your staff as well? Do you oversee it and set the programs for them?
Yeah, I have trained the trainers, and anyone that comes for a job, the head of education trains them up to what we call a final test, and in that final test they have to produce 10 or 11 pre-colored models and present them to me, and I take every test in all the years that I've had the company, and they either pass or fail, and I make that judgment. But yeah, I mean, I oversee everything creatively. I do want to say that I'm not a businessman. I don't like business. I don't want to be a businessman, and therefore I have or had a businessman with me, and I wouldn't be where I am without that side of it, because it doesn't interest me. I'm not good at it.
You're the creative side, aren't you? That's what you enjoy doing, being the creative side, tutoring people, and just passing your passion and love on for the actual hairdressing career, isn't it, really? Because a lot of people go into hairdressing because they think they haven't got the brains to do anything else, and some people just look at hairdressing as, oh, it's just a simple little job for somebody to do. But there's so much more to it, isn't it, really? People have to be really creative, and I think they have to have a really good personality to be able to look after all those different clients that you're seeing all the time as well, because every is different.
Yeah, I mean, when I started hairdressing, it had a bad sort of rap, if you like. It was a job that not many men would do, and it was a job for women, and it was just a job. But now, I mean, forget it. I mean, you can be a multi-millionaire in hairdressing, and there are several hairdressers that have achieved that. So it's completely changed as far as opportunities are concerned, completely. And it's no longer treated upon. I mean, I didn't get an MBE for doing short back and sides. I got an MBE because of what I'd given to the hairdressing industry in a leading way creatively, which affected many hairdressers around the world. It wasn't just this country; it was global. And you know, it's whatever. It's not about just hairdressing. It's about life in general. I really believe that you can be whatever you want to be. And I'll give you an example of my life. There's certain things in life that I know I couldn't do. I couldn't jump out of an airplane, even with a parachute on, no way. I couldn't even do a bungee jump. I haven't got the nerve for it. But when I was at Vidal Sassoon, I used to watch these great, talented hairdressers working, and I never used to sit in the staff room and sort of, you know, bitch about the company or the politics of people's lives and that. I used to stand on the floor and watch these great hairdressers. And in life, as I said, there's certain things you know you can't do, but there's certain things you look at and you think, that's not out of the realms of possibilities. And I thought, if I work hard, you know, I want to be one of those guys. I want to be like them. It really got into my body. And that's kind of the driving force that I've had all my life. I just want to be better all the time and prove, not to the hairdressing world, but prove to myself. And if I get me, I'll get them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and you do. You've got to believe in yourself and have that passion, haven't you, to push yourself forward all the time. And I mean, you've done, I think, incredibly over the years. I think you're kind of one of those household names that everybody knows. You've been on numerous TV shows, whether it's as a guest stylist or as a guest to actually speak, radio programs. Every magazine that you pick up, then there's something about you in that magazine. So you've been one of those kind of household names, I think, for everybody. And it doesn't matter what career those people have gone in, most people would actually recognize your name. And over the years, you've had obviously you do an awful lot of famous people. Your clientele is probably, or it was completely different when you've been working within your group of salons. And even when you were at Sassoon's, you were doing a lot of different famous people then that would actually come into the salon and see you, such as Paul McCartney, Rex Harrison, and then taking you into your own salon in Covent Garden. Numerous famous people that you've actually seen. I know because one day I was in there having my hair done by you, and I was sat between two very famous ladies, which was very interesting conversation, and they were lovely. Have you got any kind of funny stories, or have you had any mishaps and things you've done wrong? We've all done silly things in our time, but have you had anything that you kind of thought, oh bugger, I shouldn't have done that?
You know, we all make mistakes, and you learn from them. But I remember one mistake of all people. I was asked to cut Helen Mirren's hair. She was doing a new series called Prime Suspect, and they wanted her to have a particular kind of haircut. So they sent her to me, and I said, look, we can't do anything too trendy because you're going to be a policeman, and policemen don't sort of have too much of a trendy haircut. So I gave her this kind of page boy kind of haircut, and it worked perfectly well, and it went down well. The series was very popular. Anyway, the series ended, and I did her hair another time for a movie she was making, and to be honest, I've forgotten the name of it. But you know, anything she's in, it's always successful. Anyway, I gave her a different haircut for that particular film, and a couple of years later, they decided to do a couple of series more of Prime Suspect, so they were going to bring it back. So they brought her back to the salon, Helen, and I started sort of layering her hair, holding the hair up and cutting it. And it was quite long, her hair. And halfway through, I thought, shit, I'm giving her the wrong haircut. I'm giving her the haircut that for the film that she'd done. And I said, you know, Helen, I said, listen, I think we have to update this haircut because a few years have passed, and, you know, we've got to make it look more today. So I've kind of added a few layers in that we didn't do before. Oh, she said, that's a good idea, Trevor. Yeah, go ahead. I thought, Jesus, I got away with it. But yeah, so.
That's a very hairdressing thing, isn't it? Thinking on your feet and like, oh, this is the reason we've done that. Yeah. Still make client, however famous they are, feel that it was their ideal and a good ideal to actually do it that way. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I got away with it.
Thankfully, dearie me. We've got a question from somebody called Matt. And he said, what would your advice be to new hairdressers starting their careers? So a new hairdresser starting out.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the UK is a big place, and not everyone can or want to even come to London. You don't have to. What my suggestion is simple. Whatever town, village, city you're in, go to the best hairdressers in that town or village or city, because if they are the best, it means that they do in-house training, and they would train their assistants to become fully qualified hairdressers. If they're the best in the town, there's a reason. It's because they're good. And I would suggest that you start off in a good salon. If you go to a little backstreet shop, you'll learn to be a hairdresser, but you won't be getting the full amount of training and quality of training. So that would really be my best tip if you're starting off.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice, really, because it's learning. You need to. We're like sponges, aren't we? And when we're learning hairdressing, you've got to suck in as much as you possibly can, isn't it? And as you said, it's visual. It's watching everybody as well. So the better the salon you can go to, and ones that offer lots of different aspects of hairdressing as well, is actually the best thing to actually do. And we've got another question here, a bit of a tongue-in-cheek question. This one from a lady called Janet. And she actually is asked, what was it like getting the MBE? But did you actually get the MBE before you actually turned down the Queen to cut her hair, or after you turned the Queen down? Because obviously you were asked to do the Queen's hair one day, but whatever you guys do.
Well, firstly, yes, I was asked to be the Queen's hairdresser, but to be honest, I couldn't accept the honour, because running businesses, you have to be at her beck and call, and I can't be that flexible. So I had to say, look, I'm deeply honoured, but I'm sorry, there's no way I can fit the Queen in. Sounds awful, doesn't it? But anyway, but what was it like on the day? Well, it started off not very good, because I forgot my security pass. So I came to Buckingham Palace and they wouldn't let me in. And I thought, oh, that's a good start. But they did a security check on me, and they allowed me in. And I was in a room with 100 people, because every investiture, there's 100 people that get, different medals and all of that. And I was one of the last in. And anyway, I'm standing in line and I'm waiting, and Mr. Trevor Sorbie for his contribution to hairdressing. I thought, right, here we go. So walked up, turned around, and there she is in front of me. So I walk up, a bow, and she said, you do some rather strange hairstyles, don't you? I said, oh, well, Your Majesty, I try and create new ideas with hair. She said, oh, right. She said, I've seen you on television. You're very good at what you do. I said, oh, thank you very much. I said, that's a pleasure. Anyway, she said, we must have a chat one day. I said, yeah, okay. I didn't want to say I was too busy. So anyway, she's got this way of saying, getting you away. She shakes your hand and she just gives you a little nudge forward with a hand. You can't even see it, but you feel it. And that's like, right, you've had your 30 seconds, off you go. So off I went, and that was it. And I got totally pissed that afternoon in a lovely restaurant.
I could imagine, and I don't blame you. Yeah, quite an amazing person to actually meet, isn't it? Even just for those few minutes as well. Incredible. Another question we've had from Simone, and she wanted to know what your inspiration was behind the hairstyle that you created called the crunch in 1979.
Yeah, scrunch drying is actually what it was. Right, I was at John Frieder's at the time, and he had a method of doing hair. The client would be shampooed, should be towel dried, it would be cut, and then it would be finger dried. So the heat of your hands running through the hair, and that was the way, and maybe just a little bit of round brushing. That was his technique. Well, this one day I was at John's, and I was really backed up. I was about 2 clients behind, and I had this lady with thick, red, porous hair. And I mean, I do have to say, and with all due respect, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, but his clientele was sort of really ladies at lunch, very wealthy clientele, very particular clientele, very difficult clientele, let me tell you. And this one lady, I said, I've got to dry your hair. I said, look, do you mind if I speed the issue up a little bit? She said, okay. I thought, oh, here we go. So I just got a handful of hair, and I just like squeezed it into my hand, put the heat of the hairdryer into that ball of hair that I had in my hand, held it until it cooled, and then I just shook it out. And the curl that came out, I was like, wow. And if I'd stood there for a month, I would never have gotten that kind of volume out of the hair. So I thought, well, hang on a sec, this looks pretty good. So I tried it on every type of hair, short hair, long hair, fine hair, thick hair, and it worked every single time. And that's how scrunch drying came about. Again, a bit of a mistake, but taking full credit again.
Yeah, and it works, and it's something we all still do to this day as well, isn't it? We all kind of put your hair up and actually do it every day.
I think every woman in the world's had it at least once, you know.
Oh,
so yeah, very popular.
Yeah, I mean, I'm naturally curly, and it's like I quite often, if I'm not doing it straight, then I'll actually just quick in the shower out and just scrunch it up, and it's easy and done, isn't it, really? And I think, so many people are actually like that as well, which is fantastic. We've had some lovely comments from different people saying how excited they were to actually listen to your interview with us, which is really good, and people who have been really looking forward to in this segment of the actual show, which is great. I'd like to just take you on a little bit further now and bringing you up to 15 years ago when you actually founded My New Hair in 2006, which I know is a charity which is very close to your heart. As a company ourselves, Aderans, we've supported you throughout My New Hair, which we continue to do, and I love doing it for you. When you founded My New Hair in 2006, what was your inspiration for finding it, and why did you actually feel you needed to do something else as well as doing your hairdressing, Trevor?
Yeah, well, my sister-in-law at the time got cancer, and she said, Trev, I'm going to lose my hair. Can you get me a wig? And I said, yeah. I still want to look attractive to your brother. I said, yeah, no problem, Jackie. So I got this wig, just a bit of a cheap wig, really. At the time, I didn't really know where to go to get a good one. So I could put the wig on. And it looked like a wig. And so I said, look, Jackie, let me just cut into it and make it look more natural. So I did. And then I said, go and have a look in the mirror, see what you think. And she looked in the mirror, she just burst out tears of joy, crying. And I thought, oh, hang on a second. You know, when I cut people's hair, you know, they're usually smiling and laughing. And I said, the only time they cry is when I've messed up their hair, or they feel I have. But it really struck home with me what an important thing I'd done for her. And it made me think about, you know, cancers everywhere in every country. And I just thought, you know, I'd like to do more of it. At the time, luckily, I was doing quite a lot of TV work, and in morning programs, Lorraine This Morning and all of those. And I knew quite a lot of TV people through it, and they heard about what I was doing, and they gave me quite a lot of, let's say, credit for it, which went out throughout the country. And before I knew where I was, you know, the phone was ringing all the time. I'd like Trevor to cut my wig if it's possible, you know. And I thought, oh, this is crikey, this is getting beyond me now, because I was inundated with ladies that were in that sort of tender place in their life. And so I thought, hang on. So fortunately, through circumstances, I met up with a lady called Anne Fox, who's a very important person in the northeast of England. And she heard about me at a talk. I was giving a talk to the NHS, a conference, and she said, "Why don't we all get together and, you know, create a charity, and let's teach people what you're doing." And in a nutshell, that's what we did. And we we've trained over 1,000 hairdressers in this country alone. L'Oreal lend us their academy, teaching academy. We teach 15 hairdressers per course, and they learn to cut wigs, and more than that, they learned communication skills and how to deal with people in a very bad sort of place. So it's very comprehensive, and my heart's in it, and it always will be. And I think God gave me a gift, and I think I'm using it now more than I ever did in the past. All that fluff and puff and publicity and TV stuff that I've left behind, and I'm concentrating on helping people with making them feel better about themselves and their families and their friends, and I think it's very important. And I'm not medically trained, and I don't know much about cancer. I do now, because I've just gotten over cancer myself. I was diagnosed last October with bowel cancer, which spread to my liver. I had 2 massive operations and 6 months of chemotherapy, and just a couple of months ago I got the all clear. So I now understand a lot about cancer, more than I ever did, and that's even made me more determined to continue helping people.
Absolutely, because you mentioned that you were recently diagnosed and you've gone through all your treatment, and at that time when you got your kind of phone call, come in and see us kind of thing, you've heard that story so many times by all the ladies you've actually helped over the last 15 years when you've been personalizing their wigs for them. But to actually sit the other side of that table from that consultant must have been the scariest thing ever. But I suppose now it's given you so much more of that understanding of what those people are going through, isn't it? The people who you do want to reach out and help.
Well, I can talk from experience now. Not only am I experienced in cutting wigs, but I'm experienced in the emotional side. And when you talk to somebody that's got cancer, it's not your sort of, where are you going for your holidays? That's not the start of your conversation at all. It's a whole different, you have to be very, very sensitive to them. And the fact that I've had cancer, they trust me even more, and I think it's all about trust. And I'll continue to do this job as long as I can stand up.
Which is brilliant. I mean, you do a wonderful job, and I think for any of our viewers watching, if you haven't come across My New Hair, maybe you're a hairdresser, you would like to train to be a My New Hair salon and a stylist, then do go onto their website, which is www.mynewhair.org, where you'll find all the information. If you want to email myself, you can email me, and I'll be able to pass you on information to the people who will actually be able to help you and let you know when the next courses are. At the moment, obviously, because of COVID, they've all been suspended, but hopefully we'll be able to get back to doing those very, very soon for My New Hair again. So please just go onto their website and look. The charity, I think, is absolutely amazing. Trevor, the nurses involved, Darren, who does some of the styling and the cutting, everybody who's involved in it do such an amazing job. And it's reaching out and helping, as you said, all those people in that time of need to make them feel. And I think when people are wearing a wig, I mean, I've worked now for Aderans for 27 years, and I've been styling wigs all that time. And it does make somebody feel, when they put that wig on and you've personalized it, it feels as if it's their hair. They actually own it, and they can actually, put the products in it, style it as they want to, and it feels like them. It's not just a wig coming out of a box. And I think that's really important, what you've been doing and the time over the years that you've actually given for that charity is quite amazing. During your time with My New Hair Day, you actually got to go to number 10 Downing Street as well, wasn't it, to meet the Prime Minister?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how the word gets out and around, and without me even pushing it forward. And the Department of Health supporters, we're partners with Macmillan, and I was invited to 10 Downing Street when Gordon Brown was Prime Minister, and he gave me a very large amount of money for us to continue doing what we were doing. And the government recognized that it was an important element to the whole cancer sort of issue. And as I said, they backed us financially. And, you know, it's, I never thought, Jane, when I was cutting my, you know, sister-in-law's hair, that I'd be standing in 10 Downing Street. You know, I mean, who would have thought, least of all me? But, you know, if, as I said at the beginning of this, if you want it, you can get it. You know, you can do whatever you need to do in life, but you've got to want it. And
Really, yeah, you've got to reach for the stars, haven't you, really, to get exactly what you want. It's a non-profit organisation, mind you. So you're not reliant on charities, your people doing different, you know, sponsored walks or runs or doing the London Marathon and all these crazy things people are doing. So again, if any viewers are watching and you want to actually think you feel like running a marathon or climbing down a big building, and you want to do it for charity, again, get in touch with My New Hair, because it's a great charity that you can raise a few pennies for. Even if it's £5 or £500, it's a great charity to do it for. We're just going to play you a small video now, all about My New Hair. So we'll just play that now before we go back to Trevor.
So I've won over 50 hairdressing awards, 4 of those British Hairdresser of the Year, and the big one, I got an MBE from the Queen. There comes a point when you think, I've done that, now what's next? Well, it just so happens at that time, my sister-in-law got cancer, and she phoned me and said, look, Trev, can you get me a wig? So I bought this wig, put it on, and I said, oh, Jackie, it looks like a wig still. Let me just customize it and make it look more natural, which I did. She got up, looked in the mirror, bingo, tears of joy. And that's when my whole career decided to take a right-hand turn.
As you can see, by watching that video, it gives you a real insight to what Trevor actually does and the amount of passion in the work that goes into it. We've got another couple of comments here. One comment is from a lady called Kim, and I don't know if you'll remember her, Trevor, because you see so many people. And she says, I don't have a question, but I would like to thank Trevor for all the amazing work he does with his charity. He's helped me with my alopecia issues many years ago in Flora Street. So she came to the Covent Garden salon, and she'll never forget your kindness. And it's just little things like that, which is absolutely beautiful, I think. Another lady said she's really looking forward to when she can do her My New Hair training. She's been waiting for the courses to actually open up again so she can start to actually do her training with you as well.
Jane, if I can just say one thing, when I was cutting wigs, because unfortunately I can't do it anymore, because after the chemotherapy I had a bad side effect and I've lost the use of my fingers. I mean, I can't feel them. I can't do my shirt buttons up or my shoelaces, and I can't really cut hair anymore. But I will be attending all the seminars in person, but I won't physically be cutting wigs. Having said that, when I was cutting wigs, I never used to charge a penny for what I was doing. I mean, I could charge £300 for a haircut, but I didn't charge a penny for cutting wigs. But what I did get as a payment was a thank you card. It wasn't an email, it wasn't typed, it was pen to paper. And it wasn't, oh, Trev's a nice guy, thanks a lot. It was heartfelt, and it was very touching. And I keep all those cards, and I will never get rid of them. That's my payment. I thank you on pen and paper, and that's kind of my reward from her, and gave me an emotional thank you,
which is lovely. And I think it always means so much more to get a card from somebody, doesn't it, when something's handwritten? We can all fly off a text or an email, but when think about it and put that pen on paper, it does mean so much more to people. I bet over the time you've got some probably some sad but very happy memories as well from different situations you've been in with cutting people's wigs.
Yeah. If somebody said to me, what was the most important 20 minutes in your hairdressing career, I could name many, but there's one that really stands out more than all of them. I used to do some voluntary work at the Princess Alice Hospice in Isha, and I used to go there once a week and cut ladies' hair. They were all terminally ill, and again, free of charge. And one day I was cutting this lady's wig, and the nurse came up behind me and said, "Trevor, there's a lady downstairs. She's getting married at 3 o'clock. Would you cut a wig for her?" And I said, yeah, no problem. She said, "But hang on, she may not live till 3 o'clock. I went, "What?" And she said, "Well, you know, she's on her last legs, basically." I thought, blimey. And I thought, I don't know if I can do this in my head. I really I've never seen anyone dying, and I don't want to either in the future. And I thought, come on, Trev, brave it. So I went downstairs to a private ward, knocked on the door, not knowing what to expect, and come in, and I opened the door. I went, "Tina, it's your lucky day. I'm in town. I'm going to make you look fantastic on your big day."
Oh.
She was lying on the bed in her wedding dress. She had tubes all up her arms and everything. Her daughter was on the end of the bed. There was streamers, balloons, cards everywhere. And I tell you, Jane, I was in there for 20, 25 minutes, and I had the best time. Believe it or not, we were laughing, we were joking, I was really enjoying it, and I know she was, because she was laughing her pants off. And you know, I just thought, I'm not in a room with a woman dying. I'm in a room with a woman that's getting married, and that was the atmosphere. It was glorious. It was joyful. It was wonderful. Anyway, she did get married that day. Unfortunately, she passed away the following day, but I'll never forget that lady. And all I can say is, for her last day on this earth, I helped her to enjoy it. Apart from, obviously, the big occasion was the wedding, but the lead up to the wedding, she enjoyed me and I enjoyed her. I'll never forget those minutes. That's
just amazing. And it's just celebrating that life with her, isn't it, really? And in her own mind, yeah, she knew she was going to die, but she wanted to do that one last big thing, isn't it? And you were there to actually help her. And I think it's not being scared of what is going to come. A lot of people, when they, have got cancer, I've lost my mum to cancer, and it's an awful thing, but you have to celebrate what they actually gave to you and what they actually achieved and what you've achieved and can give to those people as well. And I think with that story that you said about the lady in the hospice, I've heard you tell that story before, but every time you hear it, it kind of gives you goosebumps because it is so emotional. But as you said, it was just such a happy occasion. And that's what it's about, isn't it, really? Trying to get people through any kind of situation that they're in. I mean, that was the extreme, wasn't it, really? Normally, when we're helping people, you know they're going to actually come through their cancer, they're going to actually get the all clear and carry on. But that moment of time that they're in when they need your help, they need that wig to give them that confidence and that boost to actually go on. You mean as much to them as their consultant does or the specialist. What does, you know, they do a different treatment, but what you do is completely different for them, isn't it? It's psychological.
Yeah, I mean, I having worked with women for the most important part of my life, I've understood the psyche of women, and I know how important it is for a woman to feel good, and their hair plays an enormous part in that. And you know, I've actually met 4 women that have refused treatment rather than they lose their hair, which I think personally is wrong decision, you know. But you know, they didn't want to lose their hair and they would rather shorten their life. But the majority, to make a woman feel and look like she's always looked for her family, her friends, is an important part of the healing process. I've got through cancer myself by being very positive. Even though I knew I didn't accept it, I wouldn't accept it. I'd go sometimes 2 days and think, oh, cracky, yeah, I've got cancer. I blank it out of my mind. I wouldn't accept it. That's how I dealt with it. It's different for everyone, but I'm just sort of putting it out there that a positive way of thinking is a very important part of the healing process. I really believe that, because look, the mind governs the body. I fully believe in that. I think you control your body through eating, exercise, and we do all these things, but it's your head that does it. And I think you can overcome almost the impossible, and I've proven that to myself, because you know, I don't eat lettuce sandwiches. I have fry-ups. Do I exercise? Yeah, I do a sit-up every morning, and that's just to get out of bed. So I'm not the healthiest person on this earth, but I've got a very positive mind, and if I decide to do something, I'd do it.
Yeah, it's that mental attitude, isn't it? Most definitely. Yeah, I must say I agree 100%. I think the more positive people can actually be about these different things, and if you get a really bad diagnosis for your health, then if you are positive, you're going to actually come through that, most definitely, all the time.
Jane, you know, I'm still that little boy from Scotland, and I hadn't forgotten that. And I think if I can help to inspire people, if I can do it, you can do it. But you've got to want to do it. And if I walked down the street and asked anybody, would you like to be successful? I bet there's not many people who would say, no, I don't want to be successful. Most people would say, yeah, well, you can be. But, you know, it's all right having that sort of one day, I'm going to do it. And then a week later, it's a bit like when you make a new year, you make a resolution. A week later, you're not making it anymore. You slip back into it. But if that resolution keeps in your body and it stays in your body, you can do it. Anyone.
Absolutely. It's such really good advice, Trevor. I just want to say a really big thank you from me for giving me this time to actually talk to me. It's been an absolute pleasure, and a goodbye from all of our actual viewers as well. We've had so many questions, so many wonderful comments that have come through, that I'll actually pass all those comments on to you as well. There's so many to actually read out, and love to you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jane.
Wow, what an amazing interview. I'm quite taken away with a lot of those stories. I think the one about the lady in the hospitals really sent me over the edge behind the scenes here tonight. A really, really amazing interview as well. So massively sending lots of kudos out to Jane, because she did an amazing job there. Just going to give her a couple of seconds to say goodbye to Trevor, and then we'll bring her back on. But I can see there's lots of questions lingering here tonight that we're going to have to forward on. So we're very sorry, obviously, we couldn't ask everybody's questions of Trevor whilst we had him. But we will definitely take note of those and forward them on. So let's bring Jane back in, shall we? There you are.
Hi, Bradley. Amazing interview.
So really good.
Yeah, he's such an inspiration, I think, to so many people. Whether you're a hairdresser, whether you're a patient, whether you're somebody who's been to him to have their hair done, he's got so many interesting stories. I think we could have carried on talking tonight for another hour. Easily. I was aware that Trevor was really kind to give us his time this evening. But yeah, I think we could have carried on talking to at least midnight. And the comments that have been coming through have been absolutely amazing as well. And I will be passing on all of those comments that Trevor's not seen to him as well, forwarding them on to him tomorrow and the next couple of days. I think really for everybody watching, I'm sure a lot of people are going to go away feeling quite inspired by that interview and by listening to Trevor speaking about his feelings and being so open and so honest about what he's been going through over the past months with his diagnosis in the illness. And thankfully he's been given the all clear, but left over from that, he's unable to pick his scissors up anymore, which when you've been hairdressing for 57 years is got to be such a struggle. So I know with his charity work he's doing for My New Hair, that's going to go from strength to strength. And anybody out there who wants to actually get into personalising wigs, knowing more about it, either contact My New Hair on the website we gave earlier, which was www.mynewhair.org, or you can get in touch with me here at Aderans as well, and I can put you through to the right people who you would need to actually speak to. Yeah, I'm quite blown away by the evening, actually. I had a really fun time talking to Trevor. It was just like it was just the two of us there, really. Had a few bikes around. Yeah, I kind of got in that zone and kind of forgot about a lot of other people. But yeah, it was incredible. Did you enjoy it, Bradley?
I really did. It was really great to watch, and I'm pretty sure that everybody else would agree. And I must say, me not being involved in the interview meant that I could actually watch you guys just kind of talk and then send across the questions as they came in that I could see through the hundreds that were coming in. But it just was really, really great to just sit back and watch the pair of you just talk through history, basically, because there's a lot there to get to where we are, obviously, today with My New Hair and the fantastic things that they're doing over there.
Yeah, I mean, we probably this evening only touched on little fragments of Trevor's career in his history and what he's achieved and all about My New Hair. There's so much that you can actually talk to him about, and we've got some really quite funny stories. Kev's just mentioned on there that he loved the Helen Mirren story. You can just imagine Trevor actually do it. Well, I can imagine Trevor doing that. It's actually quite a funny thing to do. It's something all hairdressers do. We all make a mistake and kind of fluff our way out of it. But yeah, when you've got somebody famous sat in your chair, it's a little bit more nerve-wracking, isn't it, really?
I cannot imagine.
It was, yeah, very, very good. Um, and it's quite nice, I think, that he's still actually quite close to his roots as well. He remembers, being a little boy, being brought up in Paisley as well, which is quite funny. I quite like the story about his girlfriend that he left behind in Paisley, really.
Bless her. And we were saying as well, back here, imagine if she's watching right now. Bless her.
Yeah, no, they stay in touch. So
they do. That's amazing.
So I'm sure I'm sure she was probably actually viewing this evening. But funny, yeah. Yeah, and we've had a lady popping up on here as well, Elaine Muir. Hi, Elaine. And she's actually from Paisley as well. She's the lady who's actually got the wig salon there. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
We'll have to find out when Trevor's going back home again.
Well, that's it. Absolutely. Wow, Jane, it's been absolutely amazing tonight. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm sure I can speak on behalf of everybody watching outside of our little studio spaces that we've got across the city tonight. It's been great. So I think maybe we should just tell everyone about what we're going to be doing next week while we're here.
Well, I'd quite like to know that as well.
Cheeky.
Yeah, Bradley sent me a test for next week. I think you're all going to know about it before I know it, or at the same time as me knowing about it. I don't know what I'm doing next week. So it could be anything. He could have me jumping out of a building. Who knows?
Well, do you know what, guys? That sounds really fun. So if you've got any other crazy suggestions of stunts that you'd like to see Jane do, please send them in. We'll get her doing all sorts of things for your entertainment. But next week we are going to be looking... Next week we're going to be looking at the trends, just like we did before Christmas, for last year's autumn-winter fashion looks from Fashion Week. So we've just had spring-summer as well. We're going to be looking at all of those. So we'll be applying those physically to wigs and hairpieces. It's going to be a lot of fun because, as Jane said, she doesn't know what she's doing just yet. So we're going to just set her the task and see how she gets on.
See how I do. Brilliant. I'm looking forward to that. Should be an interesting one. I hope I can actually achieve what you want me to achieve, Bradley, for you. Yeah, and before we go, I'd like to actually wish Bradley a happy birthday tomorrow. From everybody here at Aderans and from all of our viewers tonight as well. And those people who tune in every week to see us. So happy birthday, my darling. Enjoy your 2 days off. Yeah, you deserve it.
All right, well, from both of us, I think that's good night, isn't it, Jane? So,
thank you, everybody, for tuning in again tonight. It's a pleasure, as always, to actually have you here. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you all hopefully next week. Tune in again to see what we're up to. Okay, Bradley, up to you.
All right, good night.